Before buying a product or service, most people look at the cost of that product or service, don't they? Hi, I'm Daryl West, Powerhouse Real Estate, and on this video we're going to break down the cost of hiring or working with us. First thing you need to do is differentiate yourself and figure out whether you're buying a house or selling a house. If you're hiring us to help you buy a property, there's no cost, and here's how it works. Traditionally, a home seller will hire a listing agent and pay the listing agent a commission to sell his home. Okay, so then the listing agent will then share 50% of the commission with the buyer's agent to facilitate the sale of that home. The reason why this is important because 87% of home sellers are sold by real estate agents. So this is why it's important to market to real estate agents. So as a buyer, there's no charge for working with us. And the only time that there would be a charge is if the seller is just completely unwilling to pay a commission. And this is a really rare occurrence. My only job is to make sure that you make a good decision. We're not working for free, but there's no out-of-pocket expense for you. So if you are selling a house, there is some cost. So let me walk you through exactly how our Powerhouse market plan works. The cost to sell your home will be anywhere between 5 and 6% depending on the plan that you choose to go with. A portion of the commission is going to go towards compensating a buyer's agent. It's in your best interest to market buyer's agents because we'll have a much larger community to market the property to. In any event, there's not a buyer's agent present in the sale of your house, the total commission will be dropped respectfully. Our portion of the commission gets used to market your property for sale. Now let me show you exactly what that looks like. In today's world, if you want to sell the house for top dollar, you got to do a lot more than just put it on the MLS, pop a sign in the yard, and hope and pray that a buyer falls out the sky. You need to market it, and that costs money. One of the things we do different is we market the property aggressively. We don't want to wait for a buyer to come to us. We want to go out there and go find the buyer. You see, the more marketing you do, the more exposure you get, and when buyers compete, you win. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to walk around, take a look at your house, declutter, get your home for sale. So once the house is clean and ready, the first thing we're going to do is hire a professional photographer and get the marketing started. So we do a whole lot more than just professional photos. We're going to hire Matterport, which is a virtual tour. So someone from the comfort of their own home, they can actually look at every inch of your house without actually leaving their house. But we also add a little bit more than just Matterport. We're going to hire a professional videographer to walk through the house and get every inch of it so it just flows. So once we have all the marketing materials, now it's time to go get listed and get this property online. So now your property is going to be featured on Realtor.com, Trulia, Zillow, even our website, and every other place you can think of online. Typically, the first few weeks that your house is listed is when you're going to get the most activity, and is also the reason why you want to be the most aggressive in your marketing. And because of this, we're going to run some more advanced techniques like running Facebook ads, running Google ads, just to name a couple. So eventually the house is going to go under contract, and once that's done, great, but we're not done yet. We're going to have to facilitate the property to closing, and that's going to be inspections, contingencies, and make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then we're done. So hopefully this video effectively answered your questions about cost, so you can see how your money is best spent. So if you have any additional questions on the process, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. Thanks for watching. Daryl West, Powerhouse Real Estate.